Guys, I know it has been a long time since I've published a video, but things have been kind of crazy. We have gone back to school. We're now on school holidays, and I know that you guys have really missed out on doing art club during the term. And speaking of crazy, I know that you're probably thinking, why on earth has Mr. Richardson got pink hair? Well, you probably may have seen me at the end of last term wearing a pink foam wig around the yard and in my art room. So I actually got to dye my hair pink in the holidays to raise money for breast cancer research. So I actually managed to raise over $530 to go towards finding a cure for breast cancer. So it was all for charity and for a good cause. And of course, I'm gonna add a little bit more pink as well. Anyway, so I promised a few of you that I would do some art club tutorials over the holidays for those of you that are following my YouTube channel. So, and if you aren't, please make sure you subscribe, and then I'll try and post a few more videos before school goes back. Now, for today, we're going to be doing a drawing activity. So, of course, you will need a piece of paper. You will need a grey lead, a fine liner if you have one, or a black pen, or a black texter, something like that. And of course, for colouring, you can make it completely flexible with what you want to do with colouring your picture. You could use watercolour paints. So if you're using watercolour paints, if you have them, use those with water and a brush. You might want to use coloured pencils. But what we are going to be drawing today is something that is going to possibly keep you nice and warm on this dreary day. I'm looking out the window right now and it is cold and raining, and I hope you're all keeping warm. So I have got a mug of chai tea. I'm normally a coffee drinker, but chai tea, I've already had my big coffee today, so I thought something a little bit different. So find a coffee mug or a teacup. My other favorite one is this one from a potter called Mr. Billy Potter, who makes these cool little teacups with a mustache on them. Unfortunately, if you see, it's developed a bit of a crack, so I'm a bit sad, but I've got a brand new one coming. So anyway, find a teacup, find a mug. You can even get fancy. If you've got something like this that has a saucer, you could even go for that. I just happen to have that. That was a present that was given to me. It actually had a candle in it. Anyway, get your stuff ready and let's get started. So, I've got a nice large piece of paper here, and you're gonna start with your pencil using any type of grey lead pencil if you've got a different one, but mine's just a normal HB pencil. Have your cup in front of you and look at it sort of from an angle. So you're not gonna be looking at it directly front on and not directly from the top, but you're all going to be looking on an angle. You're gonna start with drawing one oval shape. I'm gonna start with my Mr. Billy Potter teacup. So this part is the opening section of my cup. And then draw this side. So try and draw what you see. Keep looking back and forth between your paper and what's in front of you and compare. So that bottom part's gonna be a little bit more rounded. And then it's got the handle. I can see the handle sticks out from the top and comes down right down to the bottom. And of course, if you make mistakes, then you can use your rubber to fix it up. But light, sketchy markings on the paper. So sketching is all about just holding it really lightly and just loose, sort of rough lines, just to get a general idea of what the shape is. It doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want to push too hard, because if you do make a mistake, it's going to be very hard to rub it out. And I can see that the white part down the bottom sort of comes about here on the handle. And then little beady eyes here. And it's got his big mustache. Now I know that the mustache starts just outside his eyes here, so I'm just gonna draw that. So up and over, and then flicks at the end, and then it goes down, comes up in the middle to meet that other part there. And then does the same, so under and then flicks up the top, and that's his wonderful mustache. Now looking at the white part underneath, it sort of starts just above this little handle bit here, and it runs, just sort of clips underneath his mustache there. There's a little bit in between there, and then it pops out just on the other side of the mustache there and curves up to follow the curved part of the mug. And I know that this part here is a little bit wonky. I can always fix that up later. I need to get my rubber. Forgot that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of thickness for the rim of the mug. So it runs all the way around like so. So that's one example. I can see that there's also, I'm looking at the cup there, so like a little bit of the bottom of the cup. Need to maybe open this out a little bit more. Anyway, I can have another go at that, so I can always make, from where I'm seeing it, I'm seeing probably more of the top of the mug, so I can open it so it's more of a bit of a circle and try and do it that way. See how I'm just doing it really loosely? You can always rub out the extra lines later. Keep looking back and forth between the object, what you see in front of you. So you look for lines, you look for shapes, you look for curves, look where things join up, look how thick and thin things are. Okay, so I've done that one. I've got a couple of different versions there. I've got my teacup here. I'm probably going to hold it in my hand for this one, just so I can see the patterns on the side. So again, do the oval. Now this has got a different shape to it, so it comes down on an angle and sort of curves a bit there, and then it's got this little sort of foot for the teacup to sit on. Cool. And then of course, if you've got extra stuff, you could always draw your other little bits and pieces. So I've got my tea ball, so I'll put my tea leaves inside it. So, or you could do a tea bag. It's pretty easy. These are just like little extras. It's not something you have to do. I think the main focus is on the cup. This cup is really easy. An oval for the top of the cup. If you've got a saucer, you can do another oval as well. And then you do your sides, the curved bottom, the handle, and then you can add any patterns you want to your cup. And it doesn't even have to be what is actually on the cup. You can anything up at all. It can be flowers, leaves, smiley face, fruit, your name, initials, anything. It's up to your own imagination. So it's just round oval shape the sides, curved bottom, saucer, and the handle. All right, I'll be back shortly. I'm gonna tidy up some of my drawings, ready to color it in. Okay, so I have rubbed out all the little wispy bits that I didn't want and made the lines a little bit more properly drawn. Still a few little bits here and there. The way you can tell if it looks right or not is to look, as I mentioned earlier, look back and forth between what the object is in front of you and look at your paper and go, what doesn't look right? Is that going to be too big? Are the lines not even? And make your corrections there. So I've got my watercolor paints. As I mentioned earlier, you can use whatever you want, but I love using watercolor paint. So I'm going to do that. Right, so I have finished painting all of my little bits and pieces, and if you're impatient like me, I use the hairdryer to dry my watercolor paint. You can use the colored pencils, that way you don't have to wait for it to dry. You could even use textures if you want to do a really basic coloring in, but I love watercolors. Now this next stage is optional, so you will need a black fine liner or a thin black texture or something just to outline around over all your grey lead lines. Of course it looks nice like this. I prefer not to see any grey lead lines afterwards, so I would outline with black and then rub out the grey lead. So again, this is optional, but I am going to give this a shot and see how it goes. I may change my mind at the end though. So here is finished product of my teacups and all the other accessories that I have added in. So I've outlined it with fine liner and then rubbed out all the grey lead so that all is left is my watercolor and my fine liner. So I hope you enjoyed that activity. I'd love to see what you have come up with. You can either comment on the video here on YouTube, or you can ask your parents to upload your picture on my Instagram page, wikis_artroom. And if I get any submissions of artwork there, then I will post them and you'll get to see all of the other artwork of your teacup artwork. Anyway, I hope you have fun. You can take the time on the weekend to do this activity, and I'll see you next time. Bye, have fun.